I just want to say, Werner, I've been thinking about what you said the last time we spoke, when you were like, crisis and self-loathing is an inherent part of the American DNA. I thought about that for a long time. You know what? You're right. When I think back on my childhood, well, that's not important. Never mind that part. But I see your point, nonetheless. And I know I was sharp with you when you said what you said about my mother. But I understand now that that was not intended to be a judgment, per se, but an observation, a keen, apt, detached, as is the way for which you are known, a simple observation about my mother's relationship with Christmas and Christmas decor. And while I would have characterized that relationship as enthusiastic and therefore naturally was taken aback when you called it a bleak manifestation of the natural American psychosis, an aggressive and infantile cheer which Americans utilize to convince themselves that they do not live in a world that is amoral, arbitrary, and brutal. So while that was not kind, I recognize now that it was not intentionally unkind. The Christmas thing is a thing in this household, admittedly. And, you know, I was like, it's the holiday spirit. I remember I was like, Werner, it's Yuletide season. I think I said something like, get with it. Werner Herzog, cheer up. And I understand that you might see things a bit differently. My mother is still slightly irritated with you, but she understands that you're a plain-spoken man. I told her you're a plain-spoken man, and this is part of what I value about you. And when we began our association, I would call it friendship personally, but do you value friendship? Or is that somehow unbearably naive to you? Well, back in the beginning, I knew we would just need to take each other for exactly who we were, and nobody would try to change anybody else. And there was something actually beautiful in that, I thought. Although you may not be aware that that's what we were doing. I don't mean to say that you were hard on me so much as your observations could be hard. You did cross a line, though, with the bit about the Advent calendar. This profoundly sad woman, she's counting the days in a meaningless fashion. What is an Advent calendar if not an abacus by which the more primitive among us come to terms with our mortality? That part I found to be uncalled for. And although, of course, you couldn't have meant anything offensive by it, I think an Advent calendar is about anticipation of a glorious and beautiful event. We are counting down the days till something good happens, which is generally not how things go. Generally, we are living in a pool of dread, anticipating with each passing day that something absolutely terrible will happen, and then it does. And then we are both vindicated and devastated, and slowly we rebuild. We cling to shreds of hope and self-delusion. And then just as easily as we've managed to rebuild ourselves back to the point of equanimity where once we were, something horrible happens to us again, a left hook from fate. And once again, we are prostrate before the absolute powerlessness that is our experience of life on this earth. You have gotten to me, Werner. Somehow you've gotten to me. I think an advent calendar can be quite a nice thing, actually. See? Anyway, I wanted to check in and say hello and hi and see how you're doing. And, oh, by the way, I know my mother had asked you over on Christmas Eve, but it turns out we're really invested in social distancing right now, so I don't think any sort of gathering is gonna work for us right now. And I don't want you to think it's about you or anything you said. It's really not. It's really not. I wish you a wonderful holiday season. Come, they told me, pa-ra-pa-pum-pum, a newborn king to see, pa-ra-pa-pum-pum. I played my drum for him, pa-ra-pa-pum-pum. I played my best for him, pa-ra-pa-pum-pum, ra-pa-pum-pum, ra-pa-pum-pum.
I got the chance to restart my life. What I have now, with a home, a family, that's the only thing I've been looking for my whole entire life.
That's a forever family.
We're always gonna have that connection. Holidays and everything, we're always gonna be together no matter what. We'll always be family.